Check, check. It works. Okay, hi friends. Good morning. It is drizzly rainy in New York, and I've heard from multiple people that it's been thunderstorming and crazy loud in California. I hope you are safe and have electricity in your home. The weather has been quite scary lately. Today I wore pants. I wore long pants to the farmer's market. But before I tell you about that, welcome back to Zine Dreams. I'm Jenn Vega. This stream is an exploration of independent zines and commercial magazines, how they're structured, how they're made, tips for curation, and other ways to express yourself with printed media, which is something that I care about a lot. How are we doing? Good morning. Hi, Martin. Hi, Matt. Yeah, the storm woke you up? Dang. That's freaky. My hair's a little frizzy from the rain. My friend Phoebe works at the Brooklyn Grange, and they always have a really, really long line at the farmer's market, but I wanted to show you why I was late today. I decided to get some fairy eggplants, which are these tiny, tiny baby eggplants. And I got some shishito peppers. And Phoebe, I gave her some calamansi fruit, like, at the beginning of the summer, and she had been working on trying to sprout them, and so she got five little baby calamansi sprouts, and so she gave me one, and so hopefully one of these will become a calamansi tree. Maybe. Hopefully. They do look like video game power-ups. Little fairies. Oh, you're in Iowa? I didn't realize. Shoot. Oh, it's awful. I hope the recovery effort is ongoing and great. I know, aren't these so cute? They do look like power-ups, don't they? Okay. Well, business. So last time on Zine Dreams, we looked at a Kickstarter-funded zine called Stock Tips. It was about broths and soup stock, not financial stocks. We also looked at a commercial pamphlet from Vermont Creamery, who happened to send me some cheese this week, which was very exciting. Oh, it's this, actually. I was eating some. Vermont Creamery goat cheese dip. These are going to be available in stores soon, which is exciting. And we also looked at my cookbook. We took a break from zines last week because, I wanted to get my life together. Understandable. But we're back. Today we're going to talk about Short Stack Grits by Virginia Willis. And the special issue of Fine Cooking. It's all side dishes. I thought this would be cool to look at. Yeah. Well, how are you all doing? Besides storms and fire tornadoes and scary news. Man, the news is grim lately. Wah. That's what I say to the news. Wah. You just finished reading Dune. What did you think? I listened to the audiobook. I wonder when they're actually going to release the movie. Because it was supposed to be in December, I think, but I can't wait to see it. I mean, I'm a huge Zendaya fan, so. You just finished Neuromancer! I have to admit, the first time I read Neuromancer, I was confused by the ending. I might want to reread it. But cool! Yeah. A friend of mine, who goes by the name of Zeiss, is reading the Mistborn trilogy right now. If you like, sort of fantasy, metal, like, periodic table elements, like science, then Mistborn is a really cool series to check out. It's a world where, there are people who are born with specific metal bending abilities, but people who can bend all metal are called Mistborn. Oh, you're gonna be... Oh, cool. Dracula. I've never read Dracula. That's amazing. Alright. Business. Let me talk about business. You can watch all the previous clips from previous streams here on the channel if you click on videos. I have everything archived at youtube.com/JENNDLV. I'm a Twitch affiliate, which means I make money from subscriptions, so if you do that, that is wonderful. It sends me a little bit of pocket change every week. If not, I have a Patreon, a Venmo, and social that you can follow. All that is under the name Randwiches, which is below me here. Anyway, I'm getting ready to launch the Happy Family recipe website this week. So I'm going to be working on that after this stream. Very exciting. We are a publication that's setting out to celebrate the Asian diaspora. So I'm researching recipe websites. If you have a favorite, share it with me. We have an Instagram. It's Happy Family MKT, Happy Family Market. I already asked you what you're reading this week. But let's just get into this fun zine here. So this is a series called Short Stack. And they do these very high quality handmade zines. They're distributed pretty far across the US. I'm not sure what their distribution's like out of the country. But I'll read you here about the Short Stack series. Short Stack is a small format publication focused on inspiring ingredients and dependable recipes created by the culinary world's brightest talents. Each edition is one author's love letter to a favorite ingredient in the form of thoroughly tested recipes created with the home cook in mind. Each book also offers original illustrations and a career's worth of kitchen knowledge and tips. Like the best food magazines, Short Stack editions are concise, affordable, and built for function. Short Stack editions are like the best cookbooks. Each volume is a beautiful object meant to be collected, gifted, and most importantly, cooked from again and again. So grits, it's got this cool texture. I don't know if you can see it. It says grit texture, and it kind of looks like rows of corn, which is appropriate because that's what grits are made from. And then it has this adorable purple threading on the binding. And the paper is just exciting too, is purple itself. I like alternative color zines. Like, you can see the contrast here. It's pretty cool. But what I will say is the black on purple is not very readable in low light. So the readability is yeah, it is like ube paper. Nice. Good call. I think this is beautiful, but as far as like scanning quickly in low light, this was not very conducive. So I would probably have gone with like a shade lighter on the paper. But I'm not, you know, I'm not in charge. So this is volume 5. It's by Virginia Willis. 2013, this is when it was made. Table of contents. Right away, I recognize the typeface. That is lobster up top. And Futura, which is one of my favorites. Futura bold. Different font color would really help. Yeah. Okay, let me read you from the letter from the editors. It's an exciting time to let ingredients rule our cooking. I think that applies now to quarantine as well. We're getting better than ever at eating around the seasons and using produce in its prime. And although short stack editions are meant to highlight this seasonal approach, as we proved in past volumes, we're also aware that there are some months when your pantry is the primary source of inspiration. So we're thrilled when Virginia Willis suggested an edition on grits. The merits of stone-ground dried corn are numerous. For starters, it's widely available and affordable, but also luxurious and hearty, yet it's still unfamiliar to many home cooks. How many of you are familiar with grits? And do you even have some in your pantry right now? Willis is particularly well suited to the task of proving grits' worth. As a native southerner, she cooks grits with the kind of muscle memory that comes with a lifetime of familiarity. But she balances nostalgia with exhaustive genre-bending applications, using grits to form the gooey layers of a lasagna-like casserole, crunchy crust of chicken wings, and the base of cake batter. Armed with this addition, grits is sure to become a year-round staple in your kitchen, as it has in ours. So you do, yeah, okay, Martin has grits. Cool. I will read her introduction. There's all these really cute illustrations. I am a grits missionary. The basic form of ground corn is, to me, proof positive that cooking is kind of magic. Agreed. Given a bit of liquid and some patience, grits morph from a humble pantry item into something that can soothe, fortify, and indulge. While I was working on my first cookbook, I got into a squabble with my editor over one of the recipe titles. I created a cheesy grits casserole called Funeral Grits, and my Harvard-educated, California-residing editor was appalled. No one would want to eat something related to a funeral. Disagree. I countered that to pronounce a recipe worthy of an occasion like a funeral conveyed a powerful message. It promised a kind of comfort that could hold up in the face of despair. Agreed. As well as flexibility, it could be eaten as breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and practicality. Grits are cheap and easy to make for a large group. The editor ultimately came around to the name, but the battle reinforced my feelings about grits. I grew up and continue to live in the American South, where grits are served as frequently as potatoes or bread. Like many porridges, grits are very filling and have long fed the historically poor South. Grits are as southern as fried chicken and sweet tea. My mother enjoys a bowl of cheese grits for breakfast each morning, the way some people eat oatmeal. When someone tells me they don't like grits, I try to convert them with evangelical fervor. If only the grits you've ever had came out of a brown paper packet and were cooked in a microwave with a cup of water, I forgive you for not liking them. The key to the kingdom of creamy, indulgent, nutritious grits is simple. Use whole grain grits that taste like corn. Use plenty of liquid to ensure the grains cook until they are smooth. I like a ratio of 4 cups liquid to 1 cup grits. And finally, slowly cook grits for a long time to bring out their natural starches. Proper grits are made from dried kernels of dent corn, which has a low sugar content and starchy center. Other popular ground corn products, polenta and masa harina, are made from flint corn, so named for their hardness. In this book, sharing my best recipes for grits, some of the tried and true Southern classics that got me hooked in the first place, others are new takes on country cuisine and adaptations from other cultures. Whether you're an avid grits lover or just now starting to explore them, I'm certain you will find recipes you and your family will savor. Oh, Matt has had grits when visiting family in Alabama, but never really your thing. Well, perhaps you haven't had the right grits. So off the bat, she starts with like a pretty challenging, at least in my mind, grit recipe. So this is Austin-style grits migas. So there are no illustrations of the actual dishes in here, but illustrations that are like fun and whimsical. I don't know. I think when you're talking about brand new applications of an ingredient, I think photos are really helpful, but you know. This doesn't set up an expectation in our minds about what it should look like, so that's a plus. So the introduction here, it says, in Austin, Texas, nothing cures a Longhorn-sized hangover like migas, greasy, cheesy mess of eggs and fried tortilla crumbs. Has anyone had migas before? Grits are often greasy, cheesy, and eggy too, and they can be equally effective in soothing overindulgence. One particularly painful morning, I swapped in grits for tortillas and never looked back. This gritty Texas two-step is guaranteed to cure what ails you. Yeah, migas are great. Migas are like super, super easy. It's like torn up tortilla, fried in oil, and then like scrambled eggs on top with like salsa and whatever else you want on top. But here, she makes the grits over the course of an hour, and then she puts them on a baking sheet and then cools that overnight. And then cuts those into tortilla strips and then fries those the next day. It seems like a lot of work for something that should be so quick. But, I mean, it could feed a lot of people if you were doing it that way. Interesting. I've made grit cakes before, but I've never made, like, grit strips, like thin strips. It's fascinating. Oh, she garnishes with scallions and cilantro and avocado. That sounds good. Matt says, I kind of like the idea of illustrations that evoke the idea of how a food should taste as opposed to what it should look like. Yeah. Yeah. I think illustrations should be helpful, but not set up too many expectations. Okay, I didn't know how to pronounce this word. Grillades. It's not, to me, when you first look at it, it's supposed to be grillades, but it's actually grillades, the French way. These grillades have absolutely nothing to do with the grill. Pronounced grillades, they are traditionally a cutlet of veal, pork, or beef, and sometimes bone-in 7-inch steak cut from across the shoulder blade, simmered in Creole gravy. Louisiana chef John Folsey suggests that the dish may have originated when butchers sliced thin pieces of fresh pork and pan-fried them with sliced onions. Yum! These grillades were eaten over grits or rice throughout the days as a working man lunch. In New Orleans, they enjoy this rib-sticking feast at breakfast and brunch, certainly substantial enough to serve for supper. And there's a alligator with a cloche on its head. Never had grillades. Grits congee. Whoa, okay. Asian stuff. Chinese congee, also known as juk, is typically made from rice and often enjoyed for breakfast, much like grits, oatmeal, or cream of wheat. It's also served to folks who are feeling under the weather. True. There's little evidence that other kinds of grains are used for congee, but my rationale is that one culture's steaming bowl is so soothing goodness could easily be translated into another culture's bowl of soothing goodness. Although this grits-based congee recipe is unorthodox, it nonetheless delivers both flavor and heartiness. Similar to congee, we have arroz caldo in the Philippines. But grits arroz caldo? I should write that down. Where's my pen? I want to write that down. Grits arroz caldo. Great idea. I haven't had congee specifically in a long time. Writing down an idea. Okay. Jamaica grits porridge. Southern sweet tooth is well known and documented. The sugarcane producing Caribbean is right outside our back door, and its exports are easily accessible to the ports of New Orleans and Charleston. So this grits porridge has coconut milk, grits, cinnamon, dark brown sugar. So it's like a sweet application. Oh, and ripe bananas. I mean, I'm allergic to the coconut part, but I don't know. Sweet grits? How do we feel about sweet grits? Okay, here's a grit soup. It sounds like something from like Food 52 or The Kitchen. It's butter, onion, garlic, grits, flour, chicken stock, bay leaf, eggs, and spinach leaves with a shaving of parm. Yeah, it sounds like one of those like fridge cleaning soups. Never had grits like diluted in a soup before. I don't know how I'd feel about the texture. I mean, it makes sense that we use cornstarch to thicken a lot of like Asian soups. So using grits would have sort of the same viscosity but different texture. I'd try it. True grit chicken wings with jalapeno dipping sauce. So she has a recipe here for coating chicken wings in chickpea flour and grits. And then baking them, not frying them. Oh, hi, Lucius. Good morning. You prefer sweet polenta, so you think you'd like sweet grits. Makes sense. That makes sense. I've never had sweet polenta either. I've had a polenta cake, but I've never had, like, the, you know, cooked polenta. I'm curious about these wings. I wonder, like, uncooked grits, like, I've gotten that stuck in my teeth before. So maybe the chickpea flour expands with the liquid fat that's coming off the chicken. Sorry, my nose is so itchy. Oh my gosh. Idli. Oh, idli from India. Have you had a idli before? Idli are South Indian cakes, each about the size of a biscuit, which are traditionally made by cooking a batter of black skinless lentils, or urad dal, and rice in a steamer. Here I substitute grits for the rice, which gives the cakes a rich texture and light and slight sweetness. Interesting. You can also make idli a few at a time in an egg poacher, or MacGyver yourself a steamer on the stovetop by placing ramekins in a covered roasting pan. Interesting. Dal and grits together. And then a side of okra and tomato. Cool. I've never had idli. I've read stories about idli, but I've never had them myself. Crispy grits beignets with country sausage. What? Holy trinity of grits, pork, and cheese. These golden brown fritters are pretty much deep fried country. This cheddar becomes molten with an arancini-like crust of the grits. Serve the beignets with store-bought red pepper jelly for a truly indulgent hors d'oeuvre. Like truly beignets? Truly? What are the ingredients here? Pork sausage, milk, grits, egg, paprika, flour, fine yellow cornmeal. Okay, so we're using a combination of grits and cornmeal to constitute the batter. Curious. Okay, here's a more traditional recipe. Shrimp and grits puree with brioche toasts. And there's a great illustration of a shrimp on toast. I'm not really into shrimp, so. Nassau Grits. Okay, the Florida Panhandle, not the capital of the Bahamas, is the source point for this filling meaty breakfast dish. Although traditional recipes call for cooking tomatoes separately from the grits and then combining them at the end, it's far simpler and just as delicious to make them as a one-pot deal. Rusty brown porridge is soulfully satisfying on its own, but it could be topped with fried eggs or, better yet, pan-fried fish fillets. Wow. So it's bacon, onion, bell pepper, garlic, smoked ham, stewed tomatoes, and grits. All in one pot. Wow. Wow. Nassau Grits. Okra fungi with rundown fish stew. In this case, fungi has nothing to do with mushrooms or truffles. It's a term used in the Caribbean for a dish of cornmeal mush. Oh, funchi! I shared a recipe for Antillean funchi, which is cornmeal that is cooked and then put in an oiled bowl and then overturned, and that's kind of like a side of rice that you eat everything with in the Caribbean. So funchi. But here it's spelled like fungi. I guess it's spelled in different regions differently. And rundown is not pejorative. It's the name that describes how the fish is cooked until it falls apart or runs down. Oh, cool. Oh, so you marinate the fish in lime juice and then you cook it until it falls apart. Dope. That sounds good. Fried catfish with grits and slaw. It's pretty traditional. And then we've got a little illustration of the catfish. Actual catfish. Baked grits with beef and sausage ragu. Nothing epitomizes comfort food like a cheesy baked casserole. I'm not really... I don't make a lot of casseroles. I think it's because I live alone. I'd have to, like, plan to give away half the casserole if I made one. Yeah. Interesting. Garlic cheese grits with Kansas City barbecue brisket. Oh, gotta say, I'm a fan of Kansas City barbecue sauce. Kraft used to make a product called garlic cheese that was the key ingredient in many casseroles across Middle America. Sadly or not, depending on your feelings about a log of something labeled cheese food, they discontinued the product several years ago. I jumped at the chance to recreate garlic cheese effect with recognizable ingredients. Then I paired them with a Kansas City style brisket to bring the Heartland homage full circle. Excuse me. You keep that catfish as a pet. Do you think I'd be allergic to that particular catfish? I wonder if a hybrid catfish would shed less because it had to go in the water. I don't know. Ooh, this brisket recipe sounds good. Creole grits with chicken and andouille sausage fricassee. Yes. We're getting into the more traditional grits situations. Classic cheese grits casserole. Yum. 4 C's grits. The 4 C's in this name refer to the 4 forms of corn combined in this dish. Oh, not cheese. Unrefined corn oil, fresh corn, corn stalk, and of course, ground corn. Corny corn, corn, corn. Catfish would probably have waxy fur, maybe less dander. Like a little otter. Yeah. That'd be great. Sweet potato and grits spoon bread. Here's another sweet dish for you. They say what grows together goes together, and these 2 iconic southern ingredients are no exception. Sweet potatoes combined with grits are an absolute revelation. Wow. That's true. A lot of things that have the same terroir or soil growth does tend to go together. That's why you would pair, Italian wines with Italian cheese, because they come from the same places. But that doesn't mean that pairings outside of that don't exist. It's just general rule that they're more likely to go together. A grits butter cake. Rustic cake is a twist on a traditional Italian cornmeal cake that I learned from my mentor and friend, the French cookbook author Anne Willan. Although Italians cook polenta and use cornmeal in a few desserts, the French decidedly regard corn as only animal feed. So it's a testament to this cake that Anne was willing to overlook convention. Among its other boons, the cake is so moist that it doesn't require icing, and the whole thing can be made in a food processor. Serve it topped with a generous dollop of creme fraiche or whipped cream and drizzled with honey. Oh, that sounds good. Look, it's like a little birthday cake. The water would keep most of the dander and hair from going into the air, yeah. Or it could have hair like an otter, would make me love it more. Yeah, I know. Half cat. Otter. Oh, man. Sweet grits chess pie. Chess pie is a custard pie that has been set with starch, often flour or cornmeal, but in this instance with grits. The origin of the name is hazy. One theory holds that it's a variation on a cheese pie, English dessert made with lemon curd. Huh. Never had a chess pie. Have you had a chess pie? Oh, we have a thank you here. Yay. That was the end of the book. So if you were curious about this, they have shortstackeditions.com and all the social media. Colophon. This edition of Short Stack was printed by Circle Press in New York City on Mohawk Britu Violet. That's the name of the paper. And Nina Oxford White, the covered paper. The cover paper. The main text of this book is set in Futura. I knew it. And Jensen Pro, and the headlines are set in lobster. Sewn by, and there's a actual signature here. Chest pie sounds familiar, but you can't remember having it. This little thing is about 50 pages. So they have other short stack editions. They have eggs by Ian Nauer, tomatoes, strawberries, buttermilk, grits, sweet potatoes. Cool. So that was Grits by Virginia Willis on short stack editions. It's like a pretty hefty book. Like, that was a lot of recipes. But I guess my only complaint is just the readability. But I do like the purple against the yellow, for sure. All right. I gotta go itch my nose for a second. It's like really itchy. So I'm gonna be right back, okay? And we'll get to Fine Cooking Side Dish Edition. So be right back. Friends, how are we doing? The newest edition is Chev. Oh, I didn't know that. Cool, thanks for looking into it. Maybe I'll get another short stack. I definitely want to get eggs. What if I did a short stack about tiny baby vegetables? Okay, the next printed material is a commercial one. Whoa, they have 33 editions now? My god. Haven't kept up. Okay, so we've got the best of fine cooking side dish. 101 delicious recipes and the main dishes to serve them with. This is from 2007. It was sold for $7.99 in stores and $9.99 in Canada. It says display until May 31st. Pilafs, potatoes, salads, and more. We've got another purple situation. So this is purple with orange highlights. The back is just page numbers and the visuals, which I think is a very appealing thing to do instead of an advertisement on the back. It's like a helpful, like, draw you in sort of collage. It's confusing though. This looks like the front and the back. They both look like the front. Well, I think it's really funny to do a whole collection about side dishes. Like, what constitutes a side dish these days? I think this is from an archaic idea that meat is a main course. And I think in 2020, I mean, this was written in 2007, 13 years later, meat is not so much a main course anymore. You can have the sides as the main course. So this just feels a little old, right? Like, people aren't as I'm certainly not as meat forward anymore. Like, I probably only eat meat like twice a week unless I'm working through a dish or like made a really large amount of it and just slowly getting through it. But as far as just cooking, I mostly just eat eggs in the morning with rice and whatever vegetable I'm doing. Yeah, probably anything not protein focused equals a side dish. So I'm curious to see what their definition is as we go through this. But I just think it's kind of an old concept that just having side dishes in general, like having a bowl of like lots of vegetables can be a main course now. Like, thanks to places like Dig In, Chopped, Sweet Green, like salad dinners, and ready to go like sort of restaurants. I just think side dishes is kind of an old concept, and it implies that you're making more than one thing. That's a sign of luxury, right? Like, the more dishes you make, the more stuff you would have had to buy, and that you're feeding a lot of people. And it just doesn't seem smart to spend so much money to make so many different things if you are by yourself and quarantining. So, opinions. These are my opinions. So side dish, let's get started here. I did not look through this beforehand, so. So the first advertisement is not from an alcohol company. I'm very surprised. It is just to advertise their books, Fine Cooking. I didn't know Fine Cooking was a book series. There's advertisements for Le Cordon Bleu, which was like the culinary school. If you thought you were going to be a chef, like in the early 2000s, that was the school. I've had friends like up and move to Paris to go. But that's not really a thing people do anymore. Like, the Culinary Institute of America is based in upstate New York, and that's become more of the school to go to. But, you know, I dropped out, so what do I know? Lots of French advertisements in here. For cookware, solid copper heat diffusers, and defroster plates. Who has room for heat diffusers and defroster plates in their kitchen? Rich people. Yeah, Matt says, that's what I was thinking. Having a side dish just seems like so much of a resource dump. It's true. Winter 2007. So there's going to be a lot of hearty stuff in here. I kind of love that the table of contents is illustrated in, like, steps of dishes instead of text. Like, this is very, like, trying to draw you in. I really appreciate that. So the features are divided into salads, asparagus, green beans, and artichokes that are grouped together. Broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. That makes sense because they're brassicas. That's from the same family, so you would group all those recipes together. Spinach, kale, escarole, and chard, also a similar family. Carrots, squash, and peppers, not the same family, but the same hardiness and texture. Root vegetables is its own category. Potatoes has its own category. I assume because you didn't lump potatoes with root vegetables because potatoes just has so many applications by itself. Mushrooms, onions, leeks, and fennel. Again, not the same family, but same texture or cook time. Grains, beans, and stuffings, and then condiments and garnishes. Cool. Okay, from the editor. What you want? Great sides. Okay, buddy. Welcome to Fine Cooking's first ever collection of our favorite side dish recipes. The reason we created this special issue sounds cliche, but it's true. Popular demand. One thing we've learned from our many, many surveys of Fine Cooking subscribers is that our readers can't get enough recipes for side dishes featuring broccoli, potatoes, rice, spinach, green beans, and, well, more potatoes. It's not just the way it's just not the new ways to cook these favorites that strike a chord. It's often what we might consider the classic renditions, glazed carrots, baked potatoes, creamed spinach, that kept people really excited. I don't know. I disagree. That's why you'll find a mix here of new and intriguing flavor combinations like broccoli and cauliflower with garlic and ginger, as well as soothing, familiar ones such as buttermilk mashed potatoes. Ugh, yum. You'll find expected ways to prepare a favorite side dish, green beans with brown butter, for example, and the unexpected, like parsnip fries and the roasted asparagus. Creamy potato gratin, pictured at right, is a classic that's already been published in another Fine Cooking recipe collection, but I just couldn't put together a magazine consisting of our favorite side dishes from over the years without it. Every time I make this gratin for company, I have to pass on the recipe. My guests then make it for other guests who make it for theirs. It's become such a hit in my small town that I encounter it and still devour it just about every other dinner party I'm invited to. Oh my god, the luxury of dinner parties. I miss them. Such delicious and thoroughly tested recipes for side dishes as well as main dishes, appetizers, and desserts are what Fine Cooking magazine is all about. Filled with in-depth cooking features and illustrated with beautiful, informative photographs. It shows you how to cook the food you love to eat. Interesting. And then a classic potato gratin already starting off. Let's look at their masthead. So the masthead is like the credits. Fine Cooking editor Susie Middleton. Creative director Susan Edelman. Wow, 2 Susans in charge. That could get pretty confusing. How to contact us. Newtown, Connecticut. This explains a lot. a magazine called Fine Cooking based in Connecticut, which is a pretty shishi area. And they have advertisements for very fancy stoves. La Canche, serious French range for serious chefs. This advertisement is hilarious. It's got a chicken. What is a chicken doing in the kitchen? Very silly. And then they have advertisements for themselves. Have you seen our website lately? Finecooking.com. It's very like web page advertisement. Become a personal chef. Serious results. Serious training. Steal like a pro. Wow, these puns are awful. Like, the layout of this and design of pretty much all the ads is very utilitarian. It's, like, not fancy. I do like the colors. Like, I like the pop of green here. But it's very simplistic layout, very blocky. I think it's because the audience in Connecticut just, you know, want it straightforward. Very easy to read. Oh no, I don't like this table of contents. I mean, they do have a key, which is pretty cool, which I don't really see in many publications. So it has orange diamond for quick, meaning under 45 minutes. Purple diamond for make ahead, vegetarian, feeds a crowd. That's a pretty cool key, but the result here in the table of contents, it looks like, I don't know, Harlequin. Like, it looks very, like, clowny. I think it could look better, but whatever. Not my magazine. I like that. I kind of like that they're telling you, you know, if you want to fast forward to something that you particularly need right now, like, there's an easy way to find that. Oh my gosh, remember magazine inserts? You remember when mail was something we didn't have to worry about? Oh my god. What a relic in time. Magazine subscriptions via mail. Who does that anymore? Everything is online subscription now. Oh, I like this. Like every good cookbook, there should be something in the introduction about how to use this book, or like how to use the recipes, because every chef writes them differently. And oops, my phone. Hello, go back. Okay, music is back on. Yeah, so every chef has different perspectives about how you should approach their recipes. Like for me, whenever I say salt, I mean kosher salt. So it's good to just say it in the beginning rather than put it in every recipe, because that could get very tiring. So there's some good advice in here. Getting the most from our recipes. Although all of our recipes are kitchen tested, how well they turn out can hinge on how well they're followed. Here are some tips for getting good results, including how to read a recipe well. You'll also find quick how-tos for making fresh breadcrumbs and toasting nuts. So how to follow a recipe. Before you start, read the recipe from start to finish so there are no surprises. This is just general good advice for cooking. You should always read the recipe all the way through, because sometimes people are surprised when it says, like, and then marinate overnight, and you're like, oh, I thought I was going to eat this tonight. No, you read the whole recipe so you're not surprised by stuff like that. Gather everything that you need. That's the mise en place. Prepare the ingredients according to directions. Watch the modifiers in the list. For determining doneness, always rely first on the recipe's sensory descriptors, such as cook until golden brown. Consider any times given in the recipe merely as guides for when to start checking for doneness. See, different authors have different perspectives on that. Some would rather you prioritize the time over the visual, or, you know, they might not have a visual. A pint isn't necessarily a pound, so like making sure your measurements are correct, using the right measuring cups, give your oven plenty of time to heat up, calibrate everything. To check your oven is heating properly, heat an oven thermometer in it. To check the accuracy of your instant read thermometer, take the temperature of ice water and boiling water, and it should be between 33 and 34 for ice water, and then 212 for boiling, and then adjust from there. To check the accuracy of your kitchen scale, weigh a known quantity such as a 4-ounce chocolate bar or a stick of butter. That's really good advice. Yeah, here, what you can assume about ingredients. This is what usually changes from book to book. Salt is kosher salt. Black pepper is always freshly ground. Butter is unsalted versus someone who prefers to use only salted. Eggs are large, about 2 ounces each. Flour is unbleached all-purpose. Don't sift unless directed to. Sugar is white granulated. All produce, including herbs, is washed and dried. Garlic, onion, and fresh ginger are peeled. Citrus zest is comprised of only the top colored part of the peel, not the bitter white pith below. Toasted nuts are nuts toasted in a dry skillet or in a hot 375 oven until lightly browned. Fresh breadcrumbs means homemade. Chicken broth is low salt. So you make this list at the beginning of a book or a publication so that you don't have to repeat it every time. So that, you know, it's just known. I like that. Dream kitchens for real people. I don't think so, dude. Not everybody can afford a remodel like you. This is a 2-page spread about what's new at finecooking.com. This is so much real estate to give up for a self-promotion. That's so funny. Chocolate bar is a base unit of weight measurement. Yes. Magazine inserts you always removed immediately. Yeah, or they just fell out naturally. Here, mostly green salads. So we're used to salad being served on its own plate before or after the main dish has been served, but green salads can also take on the role of a side dish, especially when to put it on the right plate in the main event. Indeed, many chefs place a tiny handful of dressed baby greens right on top of their entrees. This makes a lot of sense as salad provides a crisp, tangy counterpoint to a tender meat and rich sauces while adding a burst of color. That same argument could be used to make the salad a main course. Mixed greens with goat cheese and orange fennel seed vinaigrette. That sounds great. Romaine hearts with black olive vinaigrette. Yum. Fresh beet salad. What's their take on it? White wine, Dijon, escarole, cooked egg. Interesting. Warm salad of autumn greens with plum vinaigrette. Plum vinaigrette sounds real good. So this one has plum, champagne vinegar, frisee, whole hazelnuts. These sound like well and good, like delicious combinations, but certainly not affordable. Like hazelnuts are like $8 a pound. Middle Eastern bread and tomato salad, or fattoush. Yum. Frisee with walnuts, pears, and goat cheese. Frisee is also kind of expensive. You can find that at Whole Foods. But walnuts and goat cheese and pears, pretty classic combination. Crispy cutlets with a colorful salad. Lemony breaded cutlets. So like veal or chicken? Oh, both. Veal and or chicken. The salad that goes with it doesn't really sound that remarkable. Quartered tricolored salad. That's it. You're using the, oh, here. Balsamic vinegar, endive, arugula, radicchio. Oh, it's just like a basic balsamic. Fine. But I do like the idea of having a chicken tender on top of a salad. Can I admit something very embarrassing? I was thinking of treating myself to some McDonald's, like, chicken tenders. Because one of my favorite things from McDonald's is the chicken tender wrapped in a tortilla with the ranch dressing. And they stopped serving the chicken tenders at McDonald's. They only have chicken nuggets now. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. Even though I grew up with chicken nuggets. Okay, next section. Asparagus, green beans, and artichokes. When you're looking for something green for the plate, but something with little chew to it, look to asparagus, green beans, and artichokes. Here are classic recipes as well as new techniques and flavorings to consider. Roasting green beans in a hot oven, for instance, or topping asparagus with buttery breadcrumbs. Pair these recipes with potato gratins and pilafs found in the later pages. So, brown butter green beans with pine nuts. Pine nuts are pretty expensive. Potato salad with green bean, artichoke, and red pepper and olives. Fine. I don't know. No, I mean, I'm talking about the chicken tenders from McDonald's. There's, you know, they have the extra breading on them. The chicken sandos, they get all steamed and, like, soggy. I don't love them. Balsamic glazed green beans. Garlic roasted green bean and shallot with hazelnuts. That's also a very classic combination. It looks really pretty, too, down here. Although a little overcooked. Quick braised vegetables with mustard and lemon. Fine. Pork chops with simply delicious green beans. Ooh, what's their pork chop recipe? We talked about pork chop last week on the food stream. Maple syrup and rum in their pork chop with ginger and garlic? Okay. What's that? That sounds great. It's kind of on the fold, so you can't really see the whole picture, but... Simply delicious green beans. So the base is green bean, olive oil, and sea salt, but then they have this list of extras. A little creamy goat cheese, or sun-dried tomato, or lemon, or scallion, corn kernels. I like a recipe like that that starts basic and then like whole list of like what else you can do with it. Also, this looks like a lot of olive oil to be pouring onto the green beans. It's like the food stylist is pouring the oil and the photographer's like, okay, I don't have it yet. Okay, just shooting like 5 pictures, pouring a whole bottle of olive oil into That's silly. Slow sauteed artichokes with lemon juice and thyme. Okay. Roasted asparagus with buttery breadcrumbs. That looks great. I want that. How to prepare artichokes. That's always a great tutorial. Ooh, artichokes with peas and prosciutto. That sounds amazing. It looks really just basic. Like, a lot of the food styling in this is very basic. But that combination sounds great. Okay, we're now in another section here. Broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. Even these, the most popular crucifers, I thought it said crucifier, but it's crucifers, can use some good PR, which is where most people who think they don't like broccoli and cauliflower likely never had them prepared as deliciously as they are here. Roasted to nutty sweetness, baked in a creamy crumb-top gratin, or paired with bold flavors like olives, ginger, roasted garlic, or curry. That's true. I kind of grew up with overcooked steamed broccoli, and I hated it. But I grew to like it after having some, like, crispy fried broccoli. Or eating it raw. I kind of like it raw. Spicy broccoli raw, but with roasted garlic and cannellini beans. Oh, hell yeah. A side of sausage there. That looks good. Wilted curried cabbage stew. Interesting. Never heard of that. Ew, raisins. No. No raisins. Slow cooked broccoli with garlic and pancetta. I mean, garlic and pancetta is good in everything. Prosciutto wrapped halibut with broccoli and black olives. This is such a fancy magazine. Raw broccoli and ranch sauce. Agreed. That is a great combination. Broccoli with black olives, garlic, and lemon. I'm seeing a pattern here. There is an olive recipe in every section and something with prosciutto and pancetta in every section. Creamy Brussels sprout gratin. Great gratin of sauteed cauliflower, tomato, pine nuts, and saffron. Pine nuts and saffron in a dish together? Like two really expensive things? Y'all, this is like, I mean, fine cooking. You can have fine cooking with cheap food. I don't know, this is like driving me nuts. Peppery egg noodle, farmer cheese, and cauliflower gratin. Yes, yum. Roast beef with Brussels sprouts. Y'all. It's very basic. Meat and potatoes. Just like Grandpa Bernard likes. He's a very meat and potato man. Spinach, kale, escarole, and chard. Although tender greens like spinach and baby kale taste so good simply sauteed in a little olive oil, they cook down exponentially, which is why many of these recipes add delicious heft to the greens in the form of soft polenta, cheesy and crisp breadcrumb toppings, or even what's essentially pancake batter, as in the galettes pictured at right. Galettes of spring greens with goat cheese. Oh, so like they're thicker crepes. That's cool. I never heard of a galette as like a crepe situation. I always thought galette was a pie. Braised escarole with Parmesan crust. Hell yeah. Black kale with ham, garlic, and onion. Yes. Creamy Parmesan Swiss chard gratin. Yes. Creamed spinach amandine. So amandine means there are almonds in it. Oh, sort of. Fresh spinach, heavy cream, salt and pepper, sliced almonds. There, I was right. And then almond oil. Yum. That sounds good. Yeah, these dishes are definitely missing spice. The spiciest thing in them are like garlic. There's no red pepper flake. And no cumin, no cilantro. Like maybe some ginger, like very light touch. Garlicky braised kale with sun-dried tomato. Sauteed spinach with ginger, scallion, and sesame seeds. So ginger is the first spice we've really encountered here. Saffron is delicate and not very confrontational. Oh, here, we got red pepper flakes in a polenta with greens, but it's only a 1/4 teaspoon. Yeah, it's missing a lot of spice. Good observation. Lamb with hearty greens. Ooh, leg of lamb with curry spice. Okay, 1 tablespoon coriander. 1½ tablespoon sweet curry powder. Ginger, sherry, black pepper, no red pepper. That's funny. That's like the spiciest thing so far in this collection that we've encountered. Carrots, squash, and peppers. Cue some color. Okay, shredded carrots with chickpea and parsley. Okay, slivered red pepper, carrot, and snap peas. That's very, very basic. I've seen them in frozen dinners. This is very, very American. Braised carrots and shallots. Spicy carrots with jalapeno. Okay, here's some jalapeno. 2 bell peppers, carrots, onion, garlic, jalapeno, 1 jalapeno, oregano, lime juice. Orange glazed carrots with mint. Yum. Butternut squash gratin with onion and sage. Yes. Summer squash gratin with parmesan and fresh thyme. Ooh, roasted acorn squash with orange and curry. That sounds great. Ooh, it has orange juice and honey, curry, and ginger in it. Okay, now we get into the exciting thing. You want to dump chipotle Tabasco all over everything. Yeah. Peppernata with mushroom. Tex-Mex macaroni and cheese with green chili. Okay, hatch chili. Here we go. Or poblano. They're using poblano. You should use hatch. Root vegetables. Oh, I like this little chart. Choosing and handling root vegetables. I like this green palette. Cider glazed turnips and apples with sage and bacon. That sounds great. Turnips and apples together in a roast? That is great. That sounds so good with like a roast chicken. And, you know, add some bacon. Slow roasted beets. Fine. Yeah. Parsnip pancakes. So these look like latkes. That's great, latkes. Latke everything. Boy, I want to make some latkes. I'm getting hungry. Roast chicken with celery root and potato gratin. Yes, that's also very basic. This has shredded Gruyere in it. Okay, not very basic. Garlic, celery root, potatoes, heavy cream, Dijon, and Gruyere. That sounds fantastic. Spicy garlic parsnip fries. Potato and rutabaga gratin with blue cheese. Okay, we're getting crazy in here. That looks so good. Blue cheese. Okay, I see you. Roasted medley of root vegetables. Fine. It's really funny, like fine cooking in this context. They are exuding like upper class, like fine, but in 2020 this is like just fine. Fine cooking. Ooh, classic baked potatoes. You know what? That's what I want for lunch. I'm gonna have a frickin' baked potato. I haven't had that in forever. Oh, I would love that. Baked potato, y'all. Gotta have a baked potato. Oh, and here we go. Martin's favorite. Filled baked potatoes. Twice baked potato. Potato boats. Yes, potato boats. Potato boat is when you bake a potato, cut it in half, hollow it out, deep fry the shells, and then fill them back up with the potato filling. Buttermilk mashed potato, Yukon Gold celery root puree, roasted new potato salad with Dijon and rosemary. Ooh, this looks real good. Warm roasted potato salad with black olive. They love their black olives in this freaking magazine, but they look great here. Look at that. Oh, that's not char. It is a black olive and mint pesto. Why do they like black olives so much? I think black olives are just so, like, canned and weird. Ooh, Yukon Gold Gruyere galettes. And then French fries. Potato, thyme, olive oil gratin. Smashed parsleyed potatoes. Parsleyed as a verb or as an adjective. Parsleyed. I'm gonna parsley you. Classic roast potatoes, yes. Mushrooms, onion, leek, and fennel all grouped together. Wild mushroom risotto, yes! Ooh. Mushroom and roasted garlic succotash. Ooh. I'm actually a really huge fan of lima beans. I was introduced to them late in life. Like, I went to a buffet in Florida one Christmas, and I could not get enough ladles of buttered lima beans. This is cool. Roasted onions stuffed with prosciutto and Parmesan, using the roasted onions as a cup. Grilled leeks with roasted pepper dressing and goat cheese. Yes. I love a grilled leek. Apple and fennel slaw. That is something that I serve pretty often. Fennel and Parmesan gratin. Pearl onion gratin. Ooh. I mean, pearl onions are pretty annoying to, like, peel, but that looks cool. The secret to peeling pearl onions is to boil them. Parboil them, and then you can cool them off and peel them. Canned lima beans ruin them for a lot of people. Yeah, I assume that I would not like canned. I've only had fresh lima beans in a lot of butter. Grains, beans, and stuffings. Okay, so we have wheat berries with fragrant spices, currants, and almonds. In 2007, wheat berries were not very common, but now they are, I would say. Fried rice. Okay, let me judge their fried rice recipe. Okay, 2 tablespoons. Soy sauce. Gin? Why is there gin in your fried rice recipe? Oh, because they're trying to replace the Chinese white rice wine. Gin feels like a little too herbaceous to swap in a fried rice recipe. Though many of the fried rice recipes I've read or used haven't had the wine in it. The wine is usually for braising meats or, it's just weird to see it in a fried rice recipe. Oh, wait a minute, excuse me? Gin may seem like a funny addition to fried rice, but it's the better choice over the poor quality Chinese cooking wine that supermarkets offer? Why is it poor quality? They're equating poor quality with Chinese. It's ridiculous. Yeah, hello, schmas. I don't know who you are. You've heard of gin as a substitute, but it feels like such a stretch. I agree. I think that it might be too much herbal juniper in a fried rice. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so they put oyster sauce, sugar, added sugar, Asian sesame oil. Oh my god, this is appalling. Ginger, garlic, shrimp. Okay, fine. I just think the oyster sauce and sugar and gin is overkill in a fried rice. That just seems really wet. Doesn't it? I mean, simple garlic fried rice is sauteed garlic, you add a knob of butter, and then add the rice. And then sometimes you put a little soy sauce for salt, but fried rice shouldn't really be this complicated. Just seems a little too wet to be a fried rice. Anyway, this is white people trying to approximate Asian recipes. We've got an Ancho Chile red rice. Actually, it looks pretty good. Mexican flair. Okay, let's see how they butcher this. 4 medium to large dried ancho chilies, which seems like a lot. Ancho recipes usually only use 1. Garlic, butter, blanched almonds, fine. You know what it would have been a better, more authentic swap is pepitas, or, you know, pumpkin seeds. Long grain rice, onion, chicken broth, milk. Why is there milk in your rice? Y'all, what is going on? Who are you? Why are you putting milk in your rice? Okay. This is weird. They're like putting all the cultural recipes here toward the end, and they just seem like really extra, like making it fancy for fancy's sake, and not, like, the authenticity of it is very abstracted, like hilariously abstracted. Lemon dill rice pilaf, How to improvise a rice pilaf. Oh boy. It's very, I don't know about you, but I grew up with a rice cooker, so pilaf was very foreign to me. I only had it on airplanes, and I hated the smell of it. It just seemed like there were too many aromatics in the rice. Like, rice to me is just steamed with water. Pilaf. Just throwing in every herb in the spice cabinet. It's very funny. We're nearing the end here. Roasted fennel sausage and apple bread pudding. That sounds bomb. Sounds like a good thing to put in your Thanksgiving turkey. Sauerkraut and rye bread stuffing. That sounds so good with, like, sausage. Apple bacon and caramelized onion dressing. Okay, into it. Bulgur and chickpea salad with sun-dried tomatoes and feta and mint. Another ingredient that is very popular in this, besides the black olive. Oh, the next recipe is a black olive couscous. Oh, my goodness. They love their black olives in here and their sun-dried tomatoes, which is a very white people thing. I do not like sun-dried tomatoes. And black olives from a can are gross. Don't love them. I used to pick them off my Supreme Pizza growing up. Boston baked beans. Yum. This looks delicious. Not very familiar with it, but it sounds great. It has, like, salt pork, Dijon, molasses, maple syrup, Worcestershire, apple cider vinegar to cut all that sweetness. Condiments and garnishes. Grown-up applesauce. Awesome. What is grown-up about it? Brandy. They have brandy in their applesauce. Agreed. Cabbage apple compote. Cranberry orange relish with ginger. That's very Thanksgiving-y. Caramelized onions. Oh my god. Controversy. Let's see how long they quote how long the caramelized onions take. Heat the oil, add the onions, sprinkle with salt. 10 to 20 minutes. Much of the onion's moisture will evaporate and the pan will begin to brown. Okay, no, it's 20 to start, reduce the heat, and then another 30 to 45. Okay, so that's a realistic cooking of caramelized onions. Yeah, sun-dried tomatoes make pizza sad, and you like them in theory, but usually pick them off. Yeah. I'll eat it. There's this controversy about caramelized onions in every publication. Like, a lot of blogs say, like, it's just 15 minutes. And it's like, no. It's more like 45, y'all. Serious Eats does have a hack for speeding up caramelization, which is adding a little bit of water to the pan, but it still will take 15 to 20 minutes. And you may as well just wait the 40 because they get more jammy that way. But this is a realistic estimation of how long it takes. Tomato confit, eggplant with fragrant herb. What is fragrant spices and herbs? That's so generic when you say fragrant. So coriander, cumin, turmeric, cayenne, ginger, green chili, cilantro. So they just say fragrant because they don't know how to describe it. So cumin, coriander is very Latin American. Adding the turmeric, though, makes it a little more Indian Asian. Cayenne, out of nowhere. Garlic, ginger, also going toward Asia. But then the green chili is Latin American or American. So this is just like a mishmash. Eggplant with fragrant spices and herbs. It's very, very strange. Very, very mishmash recipe. Marinated skirt steak with salsa verde. Okay, that is the best main course that I've seen in this magazine. Okay. Hell yeah. So their salsa verde has almonds. Why almonds? A salsa verde with almonds. I would think peanut. Because it's the more, that makes more sense. I don't know. Flat leaf parsley. Wait, parsley in a salsa verde. Y'all, you're trying to stretch it. I don't understand. Basil? Okay, no. Okay, there is cilantro, which makes sense. Garlic, red pepper flake. But the basil and parsley is just merely cutting it, you know? It's just diluting it. Diluting the cilantro. I mean, it's not to say that you can't experiment with stuff with this, but it just seems really unnecessary. I mean, I'm all for experimentation, but adding flat leaf parsley to anything is just like diluting it. I agree. Yeah, such potential and then immediate flop. This is a bad pesto, not salsa verde. Agreed. It does have white wine vinegar. I noticed that their default vinegar in this whole magazine was white wine, which is so expensive. Like, my default in a lot of my cookbooks is white vinegar because it's so affordable. And it's highly applicable to, like, pickling and not just, you know, sauces and things. I mean, this is really living up to its Connecticut roots. Like, this magazine is founded in Connecticut, so I'm like, y'all. This is a really cool spread. So it says, add color and crunch with crispy garnishes. I'm a huge fan of crispy garnishes, and there's a whole table of how to achieve this. So they've got frying and then baking, dehydration, fried parsnip, frizzled leeks, shallot rings. I really like this. This is really helpful. Beet crisps. Ooh, beet crisps. Fingerling potato crisps, like potato chips, basically. Of course, they use fingerling potato, which is expensive as hell. Shiitake crisps. Oh, shiitake bacon. Yes. Hell yeah. This is a great. This is from 2007, which explains a lot. This is 2007, published in Connecticut. So it's like very rich people. Rich white people. So, you know, we're looking at it with a 2020 lens. And the hilarious diversity in this is very diluted, trying too hard, but also dumbed down, like very basic. They had a key in the table of contents for what recipes were make ahead or easy or for good for groups, but then they also have another call out for menus. So this is another thing cookbooks do, is to, now that you have this collection that you've cooked through this book, here are ways that we recommend, like the combinations that go together or that are going to be cooked quickly, nicely spiced dinner for two, elegant but easy. Like, this is a great thing to do if you are making any kind of informational collection. So even if it's not a cookbook, or if you're doing like publishing advice or how to make games or any kind of how-to, after you're done with your collection, pulling out like menus or curated sections is always a good idea, because then it expands the reader's mind of, you know, what will go together. I didn't think of that combination. So that stuff's like really cool, and I appreciate that. Whoa, whole spread about nutrition. A lot of magazines are doing this now. They're doing it in line with the recipe instead of like as an index in the back. That's a lot of small print, y'all. But nice that you're doing that. Oh, wow. Okay, this is cool too. So usually there's some end stinger at the end of magazines like this, because they want to have like a last word or like a call to action. But because this is a special collection from a magazine series, so Fine Cooking is the main magazine, but this is a side dish collection. They don't have a stinger at the end because they want you to keep this issue, and it's just full page credits. I have never really seen a magazine credit every single person before. So, you know, from the tester to the photographer. Wow. This is great. I've never seen a credits page closing a magazine before like this. Usually, at least in the ones that I make, we put all the credits in the front. But I'm surprised. Like, this is a pretty commercial like endeavor, and crediting every single person, that's really cool. Okay, so that was Side Dish, 101 Delicious Recipes from the Best of Fine Cooking. Has a bunch of, you know, cultural flaws. I wouldn't really necessarily seek this out if they are still in operation. But there were some highlights that I appreciated, and I do like the educational features that they had. Like, there were a lot of really helpful charts and how-tos and technique-based things. But yeah, the creative side of it was lacking. They repeat a lot of ingredients, not so mind-opening. It's very like set in its comfortable ways. But it's nice to have. Like, it has some good Thanksgiving ideas, some good group cooking ideas in here. But fascinating to contrast this collection with what we looked at earlier, which was the short stack magazine about grits. So this was a single ingredient featured magazine, and then versus 101 collection of just side dishes. So fascinating. I'm not sure. I'm on the fence if I would keep this or not. Maybe I'll scan like some of the recipes that I wanted, but not sure if I want to keep it. Anyway, so that was our 2 printed materials for today. Make sure to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. That's my username, Randwiches. I want to hear about, what you're reading and what you're cooking. I go live again on Wednesdays to talk about cooking questions and ingredients. I do like an hour and a half about very specific topics. Like, we did noodles one time and how to preserve food and like the history of certain vegetables like bitter melon. It's going to be really fun on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern if you want to join me. Oh, right, Martin. Dishes for a timid palate. You are so right. The spiciest thing in there was like green chili. Very funny. 2007, white people from Connecticut making a magazine. All right. Well, friends, I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday. I actually might come back later to stream a short hike. I beat the game yesterday, but there are a lot of like side quests that I didn't finish, so I might go live again later with that game. If you haven't checked it out, it's called A Short Hike. You can watch the previous stream here on my channel or catch me later. But for now, I'm gonna take care of some errands and clean the house. I hope you have a good Sunday and stay out of the rain. Thanks for hanging out, friends. Happy reading this week.